thank you for being with us today at this Any Given Child Albuquerque press conference, and thank you APS for really picking up this program, this partnership, and driving it and making it happen. So today we're going to talk a little bit about, because you haven't seen us in a while, right? You haven't seen us since the announcement of this initiative, but there's some really exciting news to share with you today, which is why we have the news here. So I want to first thank the Van Buren Guitar Ensemble. Thank you for rocking it as we walked in. We want to give a special shout out to Charlie Anderson of the Van Buren Advanced Guitar Ensemble. And I want to introduce my co-host here today, Debbie Elder.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us. And Van Buren, y'all are amazing, and I loved all of your tribute to the 80s. I know you can't imagine why. So I'd like to first welcome, we have several of our Board of Education members with us this afternoon. So thank you, President Dr. Piercy, for being with us. Board Member Candelaria Patterson. Board Member Barbara Peterson. And Board Member Peggy Mueller-Aragon. We'd like to recognize the Albuquerque Public Schools Fine Arts Department. And I do have to say, between the Fine Arts Department and the retirees, like APS is the job that never stops giving. We had retirees here to help get everything set up and make it so beautiful. So thank you to our retirees and our volunteers. And we have several members of our Any Given Child Community Arts team here. If you could give us a wave so we can welcome you, and thank you for being here. And so I believe that we have recognized pretty much everybody in the room between APS, the city, and Any Given Child and our board. So let's go ahead and get started. Superintendent Raquel Reedy is our very first speaker. Superintendent Reedy has been with the Albuquerque Public Schools, which is the 40th largest public school district in the country that serves 84,000 students in 143 schools. An educator for more than 4 decades, Superintendent Reedy began her career in Boston with students with visual impairments in 1974. In 1977, we were very lucky in Albuquerque because she came here to work with us and was a special education teacher at Atrisco Elementary School. After an 8-year stint as a personnel specialist in the APS Human Resources Department, Superintendent Reedy served as principal at E.G. Ross and Mitchell Elementary Schools before being named Associate Superintendent for Elementary Education in 2007, supervising 45 elementary schools. Superintendent Reedy took over as superintendent in August 2015 and was named superintendent in 2016. She holds a master's degree in education from Harvard University. Yes, I said Harvard University, kids. Aspire. And a bachelor's degree in elementary education from the University of Texas at Austin, also an excellent school. Under Superintendent Reedy's leadership, the Albuquerque Public Schools have maintained the commitment to the arts through some very challenging budget years. As our state rebounds, Superintendent Reedy and the APS Board of Education recognize the arts as a high priority to ensure that all students develop the creativity, critical thinking, and perseverance needed to thrive in the classroom today and to lead our community into a brighter future. Please join me in welcoming Superintendent Raquel Reedy.
Buenos días. Es un gran placer estar aquí con ustedes. I'm doing this because I want you guys to realize that being bilingual is also a form of fine arts. And so do not ever lose that. You know, it's hard to believe that it was just 4 years ago. Boy, time, as you get older, time flies, but this set of time has really flown. It was 4 years ago when we literally held our breath and jumped into the competition with hundreds of school districts and cities across the nation to join, or at least to see if we could join this prestigious Any Given Child program that is championed by the renowned John F. Kennedy Center for Performing Arts. And then guess what? We were selected. The honor was absolutely incredible. And it confirmed for APS that our work and our movement towards our work in providing students with a well-rounded education that not only focused on the academics, but also embraced the whole child as a creative being. And it was receiving praise and acclamation from an internationally celebrated fine arts powerhouse as the Kennedy Center. Wow. In speaking to Any Given Child representatives, they indicated that our proposal clearly reflected that APS was moving in some very innovative ways to enhance the experience of learning for our students. They saw that APS was embracing a movement that was collaborative and included the support and encouragement of many vital organizations in the Albuquerque community. We could never have been able to do this alone. That was a vital component. Our unique history, look around us, our unique history, our appreciation for our coexisting cultures, art, architecture, literature, dance, food, all of that combined to highlight to the Kennedy Center that APS and the city of Albuquerque were where artistic creativity was experiencing a rebirth. The action was right here, and every given child, the staff knew that their support would strengthen our efforts. I smile when I remember something that a Kennedy Center staff member, I won't say who, to protect them, but I smile when a staff member said, I remember she said, we were standing together, and she said, you know what? APS is where it's at. And you know what I said? I said, absolutely. Fast forward to the real-time gathering here today, where we celebrate the incredible progress that we've made together as a community to make fine arts the focal point in and out of schools. A special thanks goes to Mayor Tim Keller for a solid partnership that helped us get here. He has jumped in with both feet from day one and has not looked back. First, I want to share that we now have 8 elevated art schools in Albuquerque with the Albuquerque Public Schools. So now you ask, what is an elevated arts school? What that means is that on any given day, in any one of our 8 schools, you may walk into a classroom and witness K-8 students fully immersed in the arts. For instance, at Alvarado Elementary, for example, we had artists come in from the community to teach students how to paint and write poetry. Those same students later attended a ceremony in this very museum, this wonderful museum that is Albuquerque's pride. Those same students attended a ceremony here where they exhibited their recreations of the original designs of their art teachers and recited poetry crafted from their individual thoughts and ideas. Talk about the whole child. That's what this is about. We're here to celebrate our 8 elevated art schools and all of the progress that we've made, cultivating a climate in which the community and schools come together to realize more creative opportunities for our students. And the more creative they are, the more solid they are about themselves. And they have that self-reliance and they feel good about themselves. And that is what education is all about. New Mexico, as you know, has always been a mecca for arts. So it's fitting that we as a community would invest our collective resources to create and nurture and support a more robust student art environment. We're the ones that when we were faced with $25 million of cuts, bent over backwards so that we did not touch our art programs in the schools, which is usually the first knee-jerk reaction in any district. We didn't do that because we had that kind of commitment. And now we're expanding, so we're in a great position because not only did we keep what we had and kept plugging along, but now we're in a place where we can actually grow and ensure that our children receive the fine arts education that they deserve. The main goal of any given child is to even the playing field. We have more than 80,000 students. From A to Z, every single one is different and unique. And some have more opportunities than others. Some have more talent than others. And so what we're trying to do is even that playing field so every single child that steps in an APS school building has the same opportunity to grow as an individual through their creativities, their unique thinking, and just become this special individual that they were born to be. We are grateful to our partners in the city of Albuquerque. We're grateful to the Kennedy Center and more than 30 community organizations who have helped us identify and address the art education needs of our entire community. We're entering the third year of a 10-year Any Given Child plan. So we're really sort of just starting, and already it's looking pretty good. I'm more excited than ever to see us all working together to maximize student exposure to the arts. I want to thank again Mayor Keller for supporting our students, and actually what the city did, which is magnificent, is they offer a free Parks and Rec program in the summer, and they expanded their fine arts offering to our Parks and Rec programs throughout the city and our schools. And they're very, very popular programs, and I know that it'll only get bigger. And thank you to the APS board for prioritizing arts in our district budget. And I know that was not easy, but it was the right decision. So that every elementary child in the district can now call themselves a student of art. Thank you to our community partners who have devoted their time, talents, and resources to ensure the success of this program. I am more confident than ever to say that one day, you heard it here, one day we will reflect on Any Given Child as a true game changer for all of us, and an example to be emulated around the country. This collective partnership has reminded us all that fine art is for everybody. And the critical thinking skills that come into play when engaging in the arts will have an immediate impact in the work that our students do in the classroom. The reputation that our city is building as an art-centric community will also open up new horizons for everyone in the community. And of course, we all know that sometimes it takes an artist in this busy world of ours and in the world that we live in. Sometimes it takes an artist to remind us of all the beauty that is around our world. And I want our students to not have to wait to be an adult to actually embrace the beauty that is around us. And that's why we are here today. Is it obvious that I'm gushing? Well, I am. I admit it. So what I would like to do now, again, is thank you for being here today, and I want to pass this on to Hakeem.
Yes,
are you here?
that's me.
Okay, so he's ready. And again, thank you so much. Mil gracias.
Thank you so much, Superintendent, for your leadership on this, and just for getting it. You know, obviously, if you listen to the Superintendent's remarks, that is from the heart. The the importance that she feels and the understanding that arts is an integral part of not just our education systems, but just of our humanity and who we should be as a community. And so I appreciate you for bringing that leadership here today. I'm lucky to have been part of this since the inception. Before I bring up the mayor, you know, I was a poet in my life before I came to work for the city, both times. And so when I was in the previous administration, that's when this kind of opportunity came to us from the Kennedy Center. And it was really a prideful moment for me to be asked to be part of it as an artist, and now being able to be on the other side and really kind of fulfilling some things that I wished I had when I was in high school, when I was your age, for my friends in the back. So it really is kind of full circle for me to be able to do this. But what's even cooler is that in the kind of natural transition of politics, in case any of you decide to go into that, we have a new mayor. And what's interesting about this mayor is that his background actually is in art. He's an art history major. He graduated from St. Pius, then went to Notre Dame, and then he went to Harvard Business School. So you actually have two Harvard speakers on the same stage today as we talk about art and education. I'm not trying to say there's a corollary there, but yeah. So when Mayor Keller became the 30th mayor for our city, one of the big things that he wanted to do was make sure that the creative economy was part of his economic strategy. And he decided to actually double down on the efforts from the previous administration. And he's going to come share a little bit about that with us today, and also talk about his own experience with the arts, and to congratulate our 8 arts elevated schools. So please help me in welcoming Mayor Tim Keller.
Well, thank you so much. And first, congratulations to the schools, to the principals. Very, very exciting. And I want to thank, of course, our superintendent for her steady hand on the tiller, something that was needed for quite some time. So I really appreciate all the work you do. And of course, our school board. I know I see a couple of folks in the audience on our school board. Their effort in this, and I think in caring about the everyday experience of students, is really, really important. And it's something that we forget in sort of the high-level policy discussions and grant applications. I know our principals never forget this, but I try and remember, like, what is that experience for that child? And how will this make it better? And this program is, I think, an outstanding example of the way APS is really stepping up in ways to fill in gaps that, for all the reasons we won't get into, have been created over the years. And so for me too, I know Hakeem mentioned a little bit of my background, but I was an art history major, and that the arts played a really interesting role in my life. I have very little actual artistic talent. My talent is sort of appreciating others, which I think is the definition of an art history degree. No offense to our art historians at the museum and in the back, but so they usually have actual talent. I did not. But the classes that I took did bring out something different in me and taught me about myself in sort of interesting ways that in terms of what you're capable of, what your skills are, what they're not, and also just how to think differently, how to think more visually. These are things I remember from the count 'em one art class I had in my entire career. Now, I was not at APS actually, but it is amazing how I only had one art class. And but it's an art class that I still don't forget, and I still have like pottery pieces that I made and stuff like that. So personally, it definitely impacted me and actually turned me towards art history as opposed to art or some other areas. So a small personal story there, but I think it's related to, in some ways, to the fact that everyone learns differently. And I think everyone in this room knows this. And also intelligence is measured differently. It's not just measured by math. Thank goodness for me, actually. And so also because some of you know, I'm dyslexic. It's not something you sort of have or don't have, but I read at about a 3rd grade level. And one of the reasons why I think I've been able to achieve and accomplish some of the things I have academically is because of alternative methods of learning. And part of that is understanding the role arts play in just the concept that we all learn in different ways. As soon as I found different ways to learn, luckily I've done all right, and I'm grateful for that. But there were years and years where that was not the case, because I was trying to be shoehorned into a learning model that was like STEM centric. And so I always have to laugh. Now I hear STEAM. Let's get the A back in there. And that's what this is all about. The A is for arts. We love STEAM now, not just STEM. And so this, I think, is very important. And from the city's perspective, as we've heard, I'm very committed to supporting filling these gaps in where we can at the city level. Sometimes it's during the day, whether it's programs at our museums, at the biopark, and so forth, or it's after school, and it's over the summer, as Superintendent mentioned. And so for us, we're trying to become closer and closer with respect to looking at that child's experience during the day and how can we make it enriching at school, after school in one of our facilities, and over the summer. And even in this year's budget that we sent down to council, we asked for another $1 million to continue to expand the $1 million that we did this last time. And we continue to sort of bring those curriculums closer and closer together, and we got a long ways to go. But I will tell you, we are coordinating more now than I think we have at least in the last 10 or so years. And that is a great thing for our kids, because from their experience, they don't know if it's the city, if it's the Kennedy Center, if it's their school, if it's the superintendent or whatever, right? They're just going from activity to activity. And that's a great thing. But that's how we've got to look at this too. It's really from that child holistic perspective. And so that's why I'm grateful to be here and really just say thank you and congratulations, because this is a great way to work on a lot of these issues. And I'm just honored to play a supporting role and a congratulatory role on this. So thank you very much for a few minutes to speak. And congratulations, and I hope one day it goes to even more schools. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor, for being with us on, I'm told this week is Teacher Appreciation Week. Is that true? That is a fact. I kind of knew it was a fact because this morning I had to sign my son's permission slip to go to the National Hispanic Cultural Center on Friday to honor his teachers at his school. So, and another tidbit information about our mayor, he's full of fun facts, is that if I'm not mistaken, Mayor, your mom was a public school teacher as well.
It's true, and my daughter's in Coronado, so we're in the APS family, and they're actually at the zoo right now.
Also brought to you by Cultural Services. Thank you very much, Mayor. Good plug. We didn't even plan that. We're going to take our two-man comedy show on the road. So we're really excited to have with us today, all the way from Washington, D.C., Jeanette McCune from the Kennedy Center. Jeanette is the Director of School and Community Programs at the JFK Center for Performing Arts, provides strategic leadership and vision for Kennedy Center's local and national arts education partnerships with schools and community-based organizations. School and community programs include DC School and Community Initiatives, Changing Education Through the Arts, Turnaround Arts, Ensuring the Arts for Any Given Child, and Partners in Education. And Albuquerque gets to play a part in a few of those. Prior to her appointment as the lead for school and community programs, Jeanette served as Director of DC School and Community Initiatives from 2001 to 2017, leading Kennedy Center's relationships with Washington, D.C. public and charter schools and local community collaborators, and was lead for the former Dance Theater of Harlem residency at the Kennedy Center, and my personal favorite right here, musicals in the schools. Jeanette's current program portfolio includes directing a comprehensive partnership with DCPS and DC charter schools, performance access programs, Any Given Child, and Youth Council. As an appointed member of the Kennedy Center's Comprehensive Community Engagement Task Force, Jeanette contributes to vision and planning for the REACH campus expansion. Jeanette serves on the boards of directors for the Duke Ellington School of the Arts Partnership and the DC Arts and Humanities Collaborative. Previously, Ms. McCune served as Director of Community and Education Programs at the Choral Arts Society of Washington and Marketing Manager at the American Institute for Conservation of Historic and Artistic Works. And finally, Jeanette and I just talked about how long these were, so now I'm just reading them, right? Jeanette earned a BA in music, a minor in business, and an MBA from Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa. Please help me in welcoming to the stage Jeanette McCune.
know, it's always so embarrassing to hear your long bio, but I think my life would not be what it is at all had it not had the investment of an arts education from a very early age. I knew that I was not necessarily going to be a performer, but I knew that being able to hopefully transform and support others through an investment in the arts was in my future, and I could not have imagined growing up in Des Moines, Iowa, that I would end up at the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts in DC. Through this work, it has been such a tremendous honor to be able to serve young people locally and across the nation, and most importantly, to share the vision and the work of individuals like Superintendent Reedy and Mayor Keller, and behind the curtain here, or behind the wall, the Executive Director of Innovation for Schools, Debbie Elder, and Akeem Bellamy, who was one of our first Kennedy Center Citizen Artist Fellows in 2017-18. You have an enormous amount of support in this community invested in arts education for students. What I want, I have comments, but really what I want to speak from the heart and say is that really to be able to invest in arts education is not something we can do alone. It's not the school district's responsibility alone, it's not the city's investment alone, but it's our entire cultural community, and all of us have a stake and a role in making sure that every child is able to engage in an effective arts education, not just for arts education's sake, but for life's sake. And we believe at the Kennedy Center that arts education is a civil right. It gives us the opportunity to know who we are, to connect with others, and hopefully to be lifelong citizens that are deeply invested not only in ourselves, but in others. I'm pleased to say that Albuquerque is really doing a tremendous job. After just 3 years, 4 years ago in application, but you were selected as the 21st community in the Any Given Child initiative. And what that really means is that this work is about collective impact. It's all of the individuals sitting in this room, as well as those who are not here, who are committed to every child in this community having a robust arts education so that they can live the life that they deserve. They can continue to make Albuquerque an outstanding community and a representative one across this nation. We selected Albuquerque because all of the elements were there, and we believe not only could you catalyze and support arts education in this community, but that you could be an exemplar for other communities across this nation. We only have 27 communities, and while we don't have the ability to support every single one, we know that the work that happens here in Albuquerque is definitely representative and exemplary for other communities to emulate and to hopefully grow from. You have an outstanding artistic community and an outstanding cultural community, and the investment that's clearly been made to develop these elevated art schools is such an exciting example, and it's going to showcase what you can do when you all work together, and you'll be able to share that with other communities. So I'm just delighted to recognize and let you know that the investment that you're making is one that's a powerful one, backed by many years of evidence-based research for what the arts can do. You have two wonderful artistic examples that are here in their own work as professionals, and to know that it can impact everyone in a positive way in terms of arts education. So congratulations to you for what you've done already. Kennedy Center stands by you in your many years ahead and looks forward to working with Albuquerque as you continue to not only be this is it and this is the place to be, but it's a place for others to emulate and be a part of. Thank you.
So I have to say that I do get to serve the Albuquerque Public Schools as Executive Director of the Office of Innovation and School Choice. And so the new model of elevated arts schools has been one that has been over a year in the making and has been one of the most exciting projects that we've undertaken. It is through music that I found my voice as a child, and the arts are very personal to each of us. And it's the most exciting thing in the world to get to introduce this first round of elevated arts schools in Albuquerque. Each of these principals filled out a comprehensive application with their instructional leadership team. They worked with their parent organization, and they worked with their after-school programs, because what we wanted was schools to apply who were really ready to take on the challenge of implementing a new model that is so new we've never done it before. We know that there will be bumps in the road, and so thank you in advance for sticking with us through those. But the combination of passionate educators, an amazing arts community in Albuquerque has all the elements for success written all over it. And so with that, what we've all been waiting for, let's introduce our first elevated arts schools, beginning with Alamosa Elementary, represented by Principal Yorike Kestkas. Alvarado Elementary, represented by Principal Caitlin Robinson. Dolores Gonzalez Elementary, represented by Principal Lori Stewart. Helen Cordero Primary Elementary, represented by Phyllis Mokovich. Lou Wallace Elementary, represented by intern Cassandra Franco, standing in for Principal Anne Marie Strangio. Montezuma Elementary, represented by Principal Mark Woodard. And the most well-represented school in the entire room is Van Buren Middle School. Principal Sean Morris was not able to be with us today, but you all are representing him exceptionally. Thank you to the students from Van Buren. And so finally, I'd like to introduce the Van Buren Advanced Choir, conducted by Carrie Steplowski. And while they're setting up, we have from Sombra Del Monte Elementary, Principal Jennifer P. My apologies, thank you. I told you it was going to be imperfect, remember? You got that. Van Buren Choir, as you're making your way back to your seats, I want you to know that your voices inspire all of us in ways that you can never imagine, to make your school today better and to make tomorrow a brighter future so that you can make a brighter future for all of us. Thank you for sharing your gifts and talents with us today. In our community in Albuquerque, we know that the best way for us to make that brighter future is together. And so there are a few acknowledgments that I didn't get to make at the beginning that are such key players in making a brighter future today for tomorrow. The City of Albuquerque, we have the Parks of Recreation and Family and Community Services. So huge, and all of the City of Albuquerque who's here today, thank you. A couple more of our board members have come in. Board member Lorenzo Garcia. Board member Elizabeth Armijo. Let's see, we have community schools in the back, welcome. And so it is in that partnership across many agencies throughout our city that we do have the hope for a brighter future. And I have to credit the Kennedy Center for bringing us all together, because 3 years ago, as Superintendent Reedy said, this was brand new to all of us. I was fortunate enough to be assigned the role of liaison and have been able to see this through all the way for where we are now, as I see it as sort of a launching place for into the future. And so, Jeanette, we have a little bit of Albuquerque for you to take back with you, if you wouldn't mind coming up. We first have a little bag of Albuquerque goodies, things like pinon coffee that you may not have experienced, but it is a whole new thing, a whole new world. You're going to love it for you personally. And then on behalf of the Albuquerque Public Schools, the City of Albuquerque, and Any Given Child Albuquerque, we have a beautiful piece of Albuquerque Public Schools student artwork for the Kennedy Center to display.
Thank you. I will be certain to share this with our entire community. And really where I was going with the comments earlier is that what this work is called is collective impact. And collective impact is really about all of us coming together on behalf of children, which was evident in the young people that you heard today and whom you saw. But your community has come together really in such a beautiful way. And for the Kennedy Center, that is the greatest gift that we can have, is to be able to hopefully help catalyze, but the work's being done by you. And it's really customized to what you believe in and what you care about for your children. So thank you.
Thank you. So in closing, thank you to everyone for your leadership in this exciting initiative. Thank you for your time and for being here today, and we can't wait to get started.
We have some, one more time for Debbie Elder, please.
And Hakeem Alami.
We want to invite the media to kind of come up and talk with the principals, our wonderful principals up here, about their hopes and dreams for next year. We encourage the rest of you to also talk to the principals, but also enjoy the student art that you see around the Albuquerque Museum. I want to thank Albuquerque Museum for hosting, because that's my department, so thank you, Albuquerque Museum. And we have cookies and water, refreshments for you to enjoy, because it's lunchtime. Thank you guys very much. Have a nice day.